Hello everybody, Helcrex here, and welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 410. Yes, 410 episodes. And today we'll be talking about the Cougar, the Clan Jade Falcon light mech. It came about due to being hammered, and they have to design a new light mech that's sort of like the Puma Adder. Same class, same tonnage, but in some ways I think the Puma Adder is better. But this one carries more firepower, per se. I think like 3 more tons worth, comparatively. So, yeah, we'll just delve into them. Alright, so, the Cougar is designed by Clan Jade Falcon. It's 35 tons. It's a 580 slash, because it's an Omni mech, so you can put jump jets on it if you want to. That's, 2.5 tons right there. Which, to be honest, a lot of times we have done that. Take the build and throw some jump jets on them and have a little bit more mobility to make up for being a slightly slower. Because the Puma Adder is a 6'9". This is a, 5'8". So yeah, you want something maybe a little more mobile. And the thought of putting jump jets on it out of your pod space sort of makes sense. All right. So we have ferrofibrous armor and Indo steel on board. We got 10 standard heatsink or double heat sinks that are obviously on the engine. And let's see, it carries 5.5 tons of ferrofibrous armor for 105 points of protection. Is roughly, I think, a little over half a ton short. So if you put another half ton of armor on board, I believe this thing would be fully armored. Yeah, it's 119, yeah. 119 is, yeah, definitely 119. Is maximum, and that's 13 points. So if you put half a ton on, you get really close to it. So that makes me wonder why they didn't, because they could easily have just said, hey, we'll put another half ton on, half ton left over, and just put like a flamer. Hey, that's what they did with the other one. They just put a hard locked in flamer in case you wanted to take care of infantry. Makes sense to me. I don't have a problem with that. All right, so you have that. Now, the one major drawback of this mech is it is a 5'8" light mech, which tends to get it killed a little bit more quicker than, say, the 6'9". Having that one extra pip does make a big difference in a game, because it may be the difference be getting into terrain to give you a little more protection, and just getting behind somebody. So a lot of times it does make a big difference between getting splatted off the table or not. So that's one issue that I have with the Cougar. Even though it does have some good firepower. 19 tons isn't to sneeze at when it comes to clan weaponry. So there's that to go for it. Now, let's see a little bit of other write-up here that needs to be come forth. All right. So, yeah, it says it's slower but better armed than the Adder. Yes, I brought that up. Okay. 5.5 tons of ferrofibers, Indo steel, so 19 tons, pod space, Jade Falcons. All right, so there you go. Now, the primary version of this mech is running around with, let me be easier, just look at the, there we go. The technical readout sheet here. All right, so the Cougar Prime has 2 LRM-10s, and one in the right torso, one in the left torso, each with a ton of ammo, so you can roughly go 12 turns shooting those off. Then you have 2 large pulse lasers, one in the right arm, one in the left arm. You're coming in at 1485 for battle value. Has 10 double heat sinks, so no other ones added to it. which is kind of a drawback, but you can work around it. All right, so basically you can fire 2 LRMs and a large pulse laser and run, and you're roughly, on an average, you're going to have a couple 6s and for damage from the launchers, and you got the 10. So technically, really, you can do 20. On an average, it's going to be 22. It's possible to do 30 points of damage, which isn't bad. Just depends on how you roll with the missiles, if you hit with all of those. Now, if you go the route of firing the 2 pulse lasers, you can go run for 2 turns. One turn you fire both pulse lasers, run, you go up 2 heat. On the second turn you go up 4 heat, and then you're back to going, well, let's see, I don't want to slow this thing down, because a slower moving light mech means dead light mech. So you don't want to cause yourself any other issues by slowing yourself down. Don't shoot yourself literally in the foot. So you're going to fire 1 pulse laser and an LRM, cool off, and then you're back to either firing the 2 pulse lasers for 2 turns, that type of thing. You're swinging back and forth. So that's basically how we ever played the Cougar Prime. So really, if you're sitting in behind cover or something and you want to fire indirect, you can fire the 2 LRMs, indirect fire. You know, and just park yourself and just go, oh, okay, I'm just going to do this and have fun. And just basically, the 2 LRMs are basically your plinking weapons. Because really, on an average, it's 6 points when you're rolling for your damage. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more. But on an average, you're going to be rolling 6 points of damage for each hit. So a 5 and a 1. So there. That's kind of like how I envision using the Cougar Prime over the years. Pretty much how we have used the Cougar Prime, to be honest. Now, there's the Cougar A. All right, this one's a little different. Now, this one goes into full indirect fire support style mech. Still a 5.80. You have 2 LRM-20s in the right and left torso with 2 tons of ammunition. To go with that, where did they put the ammo? Yeah, the ammo's up in the arms for some reason. I don't know why. You got the launchers in the torsos, and they put the ammo up in the arms. So you can go 12 turns. And to be honest, I don't know why they didn't put them in the arms to begin with. Yeah, that way you can fire directly behind you. That's the nice thing about clan LRMs, is that you can fire them point blank range. So, but they do have a small pulse laser in the head, and then you have a couple ER medium lasers, one in the right arm, one left arm. All right, so, and then you have 10 double heat sinks to go with that. Okay, so basically you can fire the 2 LRMs, that's 12. If you run, that's 14. That leaves you 6 points to play with, which means you can fire an ER medium laser and not worry about heat. You can fire the second ER medium laser, and that will put you up to 24, so you can do that for 1 turn, and then you're going to be shutting something off to cool off on the next turn, because you don't want to slow down. And if you throw in a medium pulse laser, you're really slowing yourself down. So that's a weapon of last resort kind of thing. So don't use it unless you plan on slowing down. So to be honest, this one is one that I look at the ER medium lasers as you're going to fire one of them. You can fire the 2 LRMs and one of the ER medium lasers with no problem, not worry about things. You could even throw a small pulse laser in there and not worry about it too much. So there's that. And then heat goes up a little. You know, that's not an overly big issue. So this one is like, I'm going to be probably parking it someplace where I can fire the indirect, or running around the flanks trying to send those LRMs into the flanks. Now, if you go past 12 turns firing those things, it could probably last maybe 14, 15. Depends on your firing solution you have with the LRMs, if you're going to fire them or not. You know, if you're at long range and you're shooting at a target that's a little harder to hit, you may not fire, but you just kind of save them. So it might give you a few more turns that way. But to be honest, I'm going to be maybe parking it and just fire indirect at targets, that kind of thing. Then we have the Cougar B. Okay, this one has 16 double heat sinks, so it can dissipate 32. Comes in at 1774 for the battle value, still a 580. You have an ERPPC in the right arm and left arm, and then you have ER medium laser in the head. Okay, so you can fire the 2 PPCs and not worry about heat, because that's 32, and you can dissipate 32. This is kind of your semi-fast moving hole puncher, which would be running along with some of your other heavy mechs and medium mechs. It sort of reminds me of, was it the Puma Prime? So going down that route. So yeah, it's you got a couple good hole punchers, some 15 and 15, so you can do 30 points of damage. Not bad. Ripping off good chunks of armor. Now, the ER medium laser is something that if you get in close, I don't know why you would want to just fire it in a medium, or ER medium and a pulse, or I can't even say it. PPC. Get that right. I suppose if you lose an arm, then obviously you're going to be clicking that thing on and using it. But otherwise, it's just along for the ride until you really need it, like losing an arm. So if you lost an arm, you lost a PPC and a couple double heat sinks, and so you're now can dissipate 28. So you're still running cool. It's not an issue, to be honest. So there's that one. Oh, yeah. Then we get into the Cougar C. All right, this one's interesting. You have a Gauss rifle in the left arm. You have 4 ER medium lasers in the right arm. And then you have an ER medium laser in the head. So you have 5 ER medium lasers in a Gauss rifle. So that's 25, 26 heat, and you can dissipate 20. All right. And this comes in at 1785. This is sort of screaming, I'm going to do a drive-by type of operation. With all those ER medium lasers, if you got battle armor out on the battlefield that you may have to face down, doing a drive-by on them and hitting them with the ER medium lasers and shooting them up, you might kill one of them possibly. And really, the whole job is go out there and blast a few of them and keep on moving. Now, that's kind of like how I envision using the Cougar C. Now, the Gauss rifle, on the other hand, has 2 tons of ammunition with it in the left torso to feed that weapon. So now you got something that shoots out to 22, can punch a hole pretty decently. Yeah, I wouldn't use it on infantry for, you know, like battle armor. Yeah, if you hit one with it, it's like splatter, they're gone. So that's kind of a guarantee there. But to be honest, I'd probably just reserve that for punching holes into vehicles and other mechs. Unless you're really desperate and trying to really scrape off the infantry off the board, you know, then maybe throw it in there. But how this mech works, obviously, if you're running, you left with 18. If you fire the Gauss rifle, you got 17 left. So you can fire 3 ER medium lasers and not worry about heat. You throw the 4th one in, and then you're going up 3. You can do that for a turn, and the next turn you're back down to firing a couple ER medium lasers and a Gauss rifle at hopefully a mech. So you're doing your best to cool off, that type of deal. The only time I'd consider using the ER medium lasers, the full battery of them, and then heating up to 7 is if you're facing off only battle armor. You know, that's the only thing I can see, because I don't want to slow myself down any. So there you go. Now, the Cougar D. All right, this one. This is a quandary in a bit. It comes in a bit cheaper. This is a 1309 battle value. Still a 580. They didn't bother with jump jets or anything. This has a AC-10 Ultra in the right arm. You have an ER large laser in the left arm. And then you have 2 SRM-4s in right and left torso with a ton of ammunition in the right torso. So all your ammo's in your right torso. So if you lost the right torso, it could be bad. So basically you got 2 fusion engine, you got 2 double heat sinks, an SRM-4, and then you got 3 tons of ammo parked over there. So yeah, you got a little pretty decent percentage. You got about 30-40% chance of hitting ammo, depending. So that could be bad, losing a torso pretty quickly, and a couple of hits on the pilot, and maybe symptomatic issues there. But this one screams kind of a crit hunter type of mech. I'm going to be using it, coming up and punching holes for somebody, and then when you get in close, you just start throwing the SRMs out there. Now, you're still stuck with only 10 double heat sinks, so you get basically consider 18 you can dissipate. If you fire the autocannon, there's 6. You fire the ER large, there you go. There's your 18. So when you're running, you can fire the autocannon and the ER large with no problem. You just run around and try to punch little holes and hope that when you double pump the autocannon for 10 turns, that you're able to, get a second shot. I'm not a big fan of the ultras, because you got to roll to hit, then you got to roll to see if you get a double, and you're paying the price of the double. So there. So, and to be honest, I think I'd rather have an LBX-10 instead, with a couple tons of ammunition, 1 cluster, 1 solid, and then throw it in another ER medium laser or something in this mech to have something a little bit different. So if you decide to get in close, you can throw an ER medium laser, a couple SRMs, and the LBX, and then go crit hunting. So that's pretty much how this one works, is that you're going to be punching holes, and when you get in close, just start throwing the SRMs in, because you're going to shut off probably the ER large when you get in close and go in with the SRMs. So if you're at medium and short range with those SRMs, I'm probably not going to be firing the ER large. I'll just be double pumping that autocannon and go that route. And you don't have to fire every weapon on the mech. It's sometimes worse for you than the mech trying to take the damage. So go that route. That's kind of like how I envisioned the D. All right, then we got the E version. All right, this one has a pair of ATM 6s, and 1 in the right arm, 1 in the left arm. And then we have 3 ER medium lasers, 1 in the head, 1 in the right torso, 1 in the left torso. And we have 13 double heat sinks now. So we can dissipate 26, which is kind of needed. To be honest, the most heat you create with this, there's 15 plus 8 is 23. You run is 25. So this mech can run cool, and you're firing all of your weapons out there. So, and you got 3 tons of ammo for those ATMs. And they say you got short, medium, and long range weapons. So you have capability of extending those things out to 27 with the extended range. If you're within 9, you're going to be throwing the HE in, and out to 15, depending on how you want to look at it, you have standard ammo to go with that. So you got a good variation of how you want to use it, and there's 10 shots with each one, so you have 30 turns with the ammo with those ATMs. So you can, if you wanted to play a long standard game, you can just kind of like run around on the edges and just plink away at mechs as you get slowly spiraling in closer. You're picking up different weapon systems that you can throw at them. And you're not worrying about heat unless somebody takes and hits you with some Inferno ammo, plasma, or you take an engine hit someplace along the line. Otherwise, you're running pretty cool. And at 1442, that's not bad for battle value. And it's got some capabilities. So once you get in close and you hit him with the HE, it's almost like getting hit with, you know, and I can't even say it, SRM. So the damage output can be pretty good with this mech, especially with those 3 ER medium lasers slowly punching holes in it, and the other weapon systems are kind of like plinking as you go along. So nothing to sneeze about there. Then we got the Cougar F. All right, this one now has jump jets. So you have a 585, all right, 1400 battle value, okay. We got 10 double heat sinks, all right. So the battle value isn't that bad. We got more mobility now, so you got jump jets on board. And this one is geared up pretty much for killing infantry, and you know, probably why they got the jump jets on it. So they want something that can go in and just take on things. So you got a medium pulse laser in the head, you got a battle pod in the right torso, battle pod in the left torso, you got a streak 4 in the right torso. All right, and then we have 4 heavy machine guns in the right arm. You got a heavy, there's a heavy machine gun array, and then you get a heavy machine gun array in the left arm. So, and then you get a medium pulse laser in the left arm. So you got 2 heavy machine gun arrays, one in the right and left arm, and then you got a couple of medium pulse lasers and a streak. So this is screaming all. Let's go out and get in your face. This is like a city fighter. So if you're going into an urban environment that has lots of infantry, this will help you clear them out. Yeah, the only thing that surprised me they don't have on this thing is a flamer. It's like, got everything else. But if the infantry do jump on you, latch on, you got the battle pods to at least cause some issues for them in the long run. And you got a ton of ammunition for the streak. So this thing can really do a number on somebody to cause all kinds of damage. So with your 3 medium pulse lasers, and then you have the machine guns. So that's not a bad deal. So roughly, you know, you're looking at a lot of damage, especially if you hit infantry. They're not going to love you at all. And you got something to keep a mech thinking twice about letting you get close with the pulse laser. Now, if you get in behind somebody, hit him with the 3 pulse lasers, rip a bunch of armor, hopefully off their back, and then you hit him with the machine gun array at point blank range. Yeah. And then they're going to be going, oh my gosh, that's a lot of damage. It's suddenly like blank, blank, blank. It's like getting hit with a small laser array, basically, doing a lot of good damage to the backside. They're not going to want you in the back. So there's that. So it's kind of a good city fighter type of thing. Don't let it in behind you. Then you got the Cougar G. All right, this one. This is interesting. We got a HAG 20 in the right arm, an ER large laser in the head, and 2 LRM-5s in the left arm. And the LRM-5 has 1 ton of ammunition, and then you get 2 tons of ammo for the HAG. So you got 12 shots with the HAG 20, and then you have 24 shots with the LRM-5. Basically drops down to 12. So you got 12 and 12 because you got 2 LRM-5s. And then you got in the head the ER large, and you can dissipate 20. It comes in at 1453 battle value. Heat output on this thing is 1620. So the only thing that will affect you when it comes to heat is your movement. So if you're running, you can fire for 2 turns the everything, and then on the 3rd turn you're going to have to shut something off. And typically it will be, well, I hate to say it, the most, I would say, you may go a turn with the ER large off, and then that will cool you off, and then you go back to it. That type of thing. Because I probably will be firing the HAG all the time, even though the HAG and the ER large are your 2 heavy hitting weapon systems. It would be something that, you know, everything here is 21. You got 25, 24, and 21 for range. So you can really stand off for a good range with this this mech and lay down some good firepower, especially with the ER large and the HAG. So the only, maybe not throwing in the LRM-5s into the mix until you get in closer, and then maybe consider something like that. So might be how I'd go with this one. All right, then we got the Cougar H. This one is a 5.84. You have a Ultra 5 autocannon in the left arm. You got 3 heavy medium lasers in the right arm. You got a targeting computer in the right torso and an ECM suite in the head with 13 double heat sinks to dissipate your heat, which is 21, 23, 25. So yeah, you're running for cool with this mech at 1323 battle value. Not that bad, and you definitely need the targeting computer to compensate for your heavy medium lasers, which do 10 points of damage. You know, those are, when they do hit, that's a lot of good amount of damage. And if you're double pumping the autocannon, which does have 1 ton of ammo, so you're going that for 10 turns, and after 10 turns you're stuck with the the heavy medium lasers. And then you got ECM to, you know, if you're fighting against a lot of mechs with Artemis, and if you're facing off Intersphere with the C3 network, that will help shut it down. So, and you got a little bit of jumping capability of 5.84. 4 is better than 0, so you can get around a little bit better. All right, so you have that going for you. But the autocannon, the Ultra 5, once again, in some ways, I think I'd rather just have an LBX 5, if anything, or call me crazy, swap it out for a large pulse laser maybe. Doesn't change your range any, your damage output's the same. So, and then you're going to be saving a few tons, and maybe throw it into another pulse laser maybe? I don't know. All right, so that's all of them that we got tech readout. Let me pull it up here. We do have some other ones that, okay, we've played with before in our campaigns. We do have a Cougar that had an ER PPC, 2 Streak 6s, and 2 medium pulse laser. That came in at 1447 battle value. We had that one that we've used before. That's pretty much we use as a city fighter. So you can go out there, get in their face, cause crits, and then you got something that shoots out to 23 that punches holes pretty decently. All right, so that was that one. Let's see. Let's get this one. We got 2 ER large lasers, 2 ER medium lasers, a flamer ECM suite. And that's a 585. And that came in at 1792 battle value. That's one we used in the past, had 13 double heat sinks. So you basically ran around, fired the 2 ER larges out at range. It only has a target computer too, sorry. So it helped out at longer ranges, and when you got in close, you basically swapped one of the ER larges for a couple ER medium lasers. And it has a flamer, so something to keep the infantry at bay, and ECM. Let's see, what's this one? Okay, that was that one. I already talked about that one. Nope, not that one. Okay, we had the this one is it's 1900 battle value. Have an ER PPC, 2 ER medium lasers, and 2 medium pulse lasers, a target computer, and it's 584. I think that's a derivation. Yeah, that might be the one I'm thinking about, where we got rid of the autocannon and swapped it out for a PPC instead. Yeah, we had over the years we've played with many different versions of this mech. Yeah, here's one. Has a large pulse laser, 2 ER medium lasers, 2 medium pulse lasers, and a target computer, and this came in at 1749. All right, and it's a 584 too. 12 double heat sinks. So yeah, over the years we've used the mech to pretty decent usage. Just trying to keep it out of the eyeballs, because every time we've played this mech that it got anywhere near close to a decent mech with a lot of heavy weapons and pulse lasers, it pretty much got wiped off the board pretty quickly. So that's it. That's the Cougar in a nutshell. That's a long video. Hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Elcrex out.